The United States is set to dispatch its most formidable aircraft carrier to the Middle East, reinforcing an existing presence and amplifying President Donald Trump's strategy to pressure Iran into negotiating a settlement regarding its nuclear ambitions. The USS Gerald R Ford is scheduled to be deployed to the region shortly after Trump hinted at a possible new round of discussions with Iranian officials just days prior. However, those talks have yet to come to fruition, as one of Iran's leading security figures traveled to Oman and Qatar, engaging in dialogues with U.S. representatives. Gulf Arab countries have issued warnings that any potential assault might escalate into yet another regional conflict as the Middle East continues to grapple with the aftermath of the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. At the same time, Iranians are starting to observe 40-day mourning rituals for the numerous lives lost during the violent suppression of protests, which intensifies the internal strain on the already sanctions-weighed Islamic Republic. The arrival of the Ford will station 2 aircraft carriers along with their respective warships in the area. Currently, the USS Abraham Lincoln, along with its fleet of guided missile destroyers, is stationed in the Arabian Sea. In addition to direct confrontations, Iran still has various strategies available in the maritime arena. The Shia regime banks on an asymmetric naval strategy. Here's all you need to know. The gravest situation would entail direct assaults on U.S. naval vessels situated in the Persian Gulf, which stand as the most prominent representations of American military strength. Strategists in Iran are well aware that this course of action carries significant risks and presents considerable operational challenges. Iran's traditional naval forces, primarily comprised of outdated frigates and corvettes from the time of the Shah, cannot compete with the overwhelming firepower of the U.S. Navy. During their last direct confrontation in 1988, Iran suffered the catastrophic loss of nearly half of its naval fleet in just one day. As a result, Tehran is keen to avoid a similar outcome in the future. In the event of a maritime clash between the United States and Iran, the strategy employed would hinge on the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy's principle of swarm tactics. This approach involves deploying numerous swift boats equipped with missiles, launching operations from various coastal installations to harass, encircle, and test the defenses of American naval vessels. During intense military engagements, these swarms might be employed alongside naval mines and missile strikes from the shore, generating a complex and overwhelming threat landscape that seeks to overwhelm U.S. defensive measures. Moreover, Iranian strategists have explicitly considered the use of kamikaze tactics, utilizing explosive-filled boats or unmanned aerial vehicles, which are intended not so much to destroy significant U.S. ships, but rather to convey determination, cause harm, and showcase a readiness to endure casualties to leverage political repercussions. Nevertheless, Tehran understands that confronting American warships head-on would put its naval forces at risk of facing devastating retaliatory strikes, which could lead to severe losses within hours. Consequently, any assaults on military ships are expected to be meticulously chosen, opportunistic, and carefully planned, aimed more at undermining American deterrence and prestige than at causing significant casualties or achieving tactical victories. This approach highlights Tehran's overarching strategic reasoning of embracing risk and utilizing asymmetric escalation while operating under the looming presence of U.S. military dominance. Many years ago, Iran stood as a key ally of the United States in the Middle East, particularly during the reign of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. The Shah invested in American military armaments and permitted CIA operatives to establish clandestine listening stations aimed at surveilling the Soviet Union next door. In 1953, the CIA orchestrated a coup that solidified the Shah's grip on power. However, in January 1979, the Shah, who was gravely ill with cancer, departed Iran amidst a surge of widespread protests challenging his authority. Subsequently, the Islamic Revolution, spearheaded by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, established a theocratic regime in Iran. Later, in that same year, a group of university students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, demanding the extradition of the Shah, an action that ignited a hostage crisis and resulted in the breakdown of diplomatic ties between Iran and the United States. In the 1980s, amid the turmoil of the Iran-Iraq War, the United States provided support to Saddam Hussein. As the conflict unfolded, the U.S. executed a brief yet impactful military operation that severely weakened Iran's maritime capabilities, a phase of the war often referred to as the Tanker War. Subsequently, the U.S. military mistakenly shot down an Iranian civilian airliner, claiming it was confused for a military aircraft. Since then, Iran and the United States have oscillated between hostility and reluctant diplomatic engagement, with their relationship reaching its zenith during the 2015 nuclear agreement. This landmark deal required Iran to significantly curtail its nuclear ambitions in return for the alleviation of economic sanctions. However, in 2018, Trump made the decision to withdraw the U.S. from the agreement unilaterally, which ignited rising tensions in the Middle East, a situation that escalated further following Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7, 2023.